back in my peaceful chill spot. Okay, when it comes to talking about awakening, I want to zero in on some of the things that I did that I think maybe sped it up or sparked it into action. Not that you have to do the same thing, and not that there's a technique that will do anything or work, but there does seem to be some ways that I lived and things that I questioned and little things that I did that definitely seemed to help push me in the direction of all the shifts that happened to now just be at peace. So if I'm thinking back a couple years ago, I mean, there were so many things that I did. I've always been an investigator, a questioner. I never trusted really anyone or big corporations or just any kind of hierarchy. I got in trouble pretty often because I would talk to someone higher up, just like a normal person. You know, I wouldn't address them by their title or anything. And maybe some of that was me just having authority issues, or maybe it was just me just treating everyone the same, and I always thought that was normal. But you know, people are really attached to their titles. Anyway, side note. So I think of two things specifically that helped. One, I would tune into my body in every moment, how I'm feeling. And the other one would be, I would question not every thought, that would be tiring. But sometimes a sticky thought or a thought loop would happen where it would just repeat and repeat and repeat, and I would just ask myself, like, what, is this true? Where is this coming from? I would just really, really investigate it. So the first one, I didn't do really my entire life, tuning into my body and my emotions. I didn't know about it until I was going to counseling at the time, and my counselor mentioned it, because I think he noticed I had pretty low emotional intelligence. Anyway, he mentioned it, and I started trying it. So I printed out one of those feeling wheels, and it has all the emotions, all these subcategories, and I posted it up at work on the wall. Yes, everybody I work with made fun of me. I don't care. I would look at it 3 times a day and ask myself, where am I on that wheel? How am I feeling? 90% of the time it was in the negative or bad side category, uncomfortable emotions. Not surprisingly, there's more uncomfortable emotions than pleasant ones. Didn't know that either. Anyway, I have a job where I've been doing it 10 years. It's a trade, it's a physical labor type of thing, but I'm so good at it now, and it's muscle memory. So I can easily get lost in my mind and my thoughts and just be thinking or listening to music or doing something else while I'm working and not think about my body at all. So oftentimes, that's what I did. So I started turning that around. I'll be doing some menial task that I've done a million times before, and I wouldn't be thinking about it, but I would force myself to tune in to my body and feel how my arms were moving and how I was working, you know, what my body was doing. And oftentimes, it was striking, oftentimes I would do that. I would hear the sounds of the sandpaper, and I would just feel like the smallest things that I work with every day, but I'm not paying attention to. And I would tune into like all the muscles in my body and how they're moving together to like sand a panel, you know, and I I would often start laughing, like bubbly joy laughing, because it just felt so interesting and good. And I'd be surprised at how such a simple thing could be actually so complex and so intricate and so detailed, and it just fascinated me. So that process kept going. I kept tuning into my body, you know, and at first I just made I set alarms on my phone. Seems funny now, because I do it naturally all the time. But at first it wasn't a practice, so I would set alarms, and it'd be like, hey, tune into your body, so I would do it. And then at the same time, in my life, in the same few years, I would get stuck in these negative thought loops all the time, mostly anger or just anger, stewing over something someone said or my situation I was in, and it was just impossible to turn off. So I would question it, but not to make it go away, which I started doing that. I wanted it to go away, so I would be like, oh, I'll get curious about it so it goes away. That didn't work. I started getting curious about it just for the sake of curiosity. That worked, whatever worked means in this sense, in the way that I gained enough clarity for that thought loop to stop happening. So oftentimes, I never realized my anger was tied to fear or sadness, usually stemming from the same thing. So sometimes I'd find myself stewing about someone who made me mad, and it had nothing to do with that person. It traced back to 3 people ago who said something, and then my mind just kind of remembered all the similar instances, and I'm way down here mad at someone that I haven't talked to in 3 years, when really what happened was 2 hours ago, somebody that I actually talked to said something that reminded me of that person. So being able to trace those back and see that it was a really practical thing, and then dissect it even farther into why does that even bring up anger. Those 2 things were very, very helpful on this path. Tuning into my body in every present moment, and I think that is still what I do in meditation. I don't meditate to calm my mind. I don't meditate to be peaceful. I meditate because I love that stillness. And it's there all the time now, but at first it wasn't. So I had to tune into it and see it more often. And then the more I did it, the more I realized, oh, any minute of any day, if I do this, there's stillness and peace there. So it must be there all the time. I'm just missing it. It's really simple. It took practice, I guess, over time to see it more and more, but it wasn't like I practiced to gain something. This is the weirdest part about awakening. Is you practice to lose the unawareness, and then when you lose it, you realize that the peace and the love and the joy that was there the whole time. So nothing's gained. You lose what was blocking it, and what was blocking that was you, the unawareness, the busyness, the mental chatter. So when I tell you that those helped, it's not like do this technique because it's going to give you something. These were specific techniques that I used, not even knowing at the time that this is what was going to happen. But what happened was I would tune in more often, and then over time I realized, oh, I was just getting in the way. I hope that made sense. If it did, I'll stop there at risk of making this too long.